What next for Kell Brooks? Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Truth Hurts Boxing, and you're with your boy Breezy. And yeah, we want to go into what are the next options for Special K Brook, Kell Brooks. Now, I think for someone like Kell Brooks to come back with that type of performance we saw on Saturday is something pretty spectacular, considering he's had an 18-month layoff. I thought it was a great performance. You could see there was a little bit of rust at the start, but he picked things up. But what we want to do right now is break down what his next options are and what Eddie Hearn can do for Kell Brooks, because it's a special case with Kell Brooks where I think he's one of the British greats as such. No, he's a top British fighter. He'll go down in history as a top British fighter, but he could have been one of the greats. That's what I was trying to say. I think this guy has been so badly managed, it's unbelievable. Now, that's not taken away that there's a few things that even his trainer, Eddie, have said himself that he's been involved in himself, whether it comes to commitment outside the boxing gym. Because as his trainer said, anything inside the boxing gym he's on it, but outside the boxing gym, you can see with the blow up of weight and stuff like that, he might not be as dedicated as he should be with that. But I'm going to go into a little bit of his mismanagement and then what his options are next. For me, someone like Kell Brooks should have been so much greater than he has been, and he was going on a forward trajectory, an upward trajectory, get that word out, and then it all stopped. I know that he did get stabbed in his leg and that put him back a little bit. But the Sean Porter, as soon as he beat Sean Porter, the world should have been his limits. It should have literally been kind of, let's get them all over here, let's get some fighters over here. He should have been backed absolutely massively. And this is where I think that there's been a little bit of a fault of, well, promotion, really. And this is the difference between UFC and boxing. Now, I'm boxing all day, but when you see special cases like this, it kind of, you think to yourself, it's letting itself down with so many different titles, because Kell Brooks was the champion. He was the IBF champion. It was a huge fight for him. Went over to the US and beat Sean Porter. Then obviously the incident happened where he got stabbed on holiday. So that put him back a little bit. But it's the constant chasing of the Amir Khan fight which will define his legacy, which I'm hoping it doesn't. A little bit like Junior Witter, but Kell Brooks done a lot more in boxing than Junior Witter. But that fight against Ricky Hatton should have happened, and it never did. And I can see this happening with Khan. For Khan chasing, I keep hearing every single year for the last 6-7 years, he's chasing the Pacquiao fight or the Mayweather fight. Amir Khan at his best would be a problem for any fight, but why are they going to fight him? I think that they can beat him. You don't get much gain from beating somebody who's a bit chinny. You don't really get much from there. And it's kind of like that with Amir Khan. He knows that there's so much on the line when it comes to Kell Brooks, and he knows that he could just be doing the chicken dance and getting knocked out. So why is he going to give Kell Brooks the payday? Because Amir Khan is the bigger fighter. Guys in America, Sean Crawford's done it recently, Canelo, they use Khan as just a name, just to basically beat up a little bit. So yeah, so for me, Kell Brooks was mismanaged, and then because he's been chasing the Amir Khan fight, and then Amir Khan fought Canelo, and Canelo, remember, Canelo was still a 154, 160, but mainly a 154 fighter, but he was just trying to test the waters at 160 at the time. Kell Brooks thought, okay, he's been knocked out cold, I'm going to do something even greater. And at the time, it would have been greater to beat Triple G, undefeated Triple G, knockout artist Triple G at his 160, that even Canelo didn't want to fight him at that time. I think Triple G was only 34 at the time as well. Yeah, to put him against it as a promoter, this is where I was baffled with Kell Brooks, and it was kind of like, Why are you putting him in against Triple G? Don't get me wrong, I was excited for the fight, and we'd never seen Kell Brooks lose, so we're thinking that something special was going to happen. But now you look in hindsight, and he was mismanaged. What we should have been doing is trying to pay the extra money to get some of these guys over. So to get even a Sean Porter rematch again, to get a Danny Garcia over, and Keith Thurman over, paying that extra to get those guys over. So for someone like Kell Brooks, he was saying like the Pacquiao fight, for him, he's like, I'm the best welterweight in Britain. Why aren't I getting the best American fighters? Okay, let me get Triple G. He loses that, he damages his orbital bone. He got battered after starting brightly. And then after that, he's at a loss. He doesn't know what to do because he's had his weight issues. So then he's got like the 154, but he's still got the title at 147 that he doesn't want to relinquish. And obviously you've still got a hungry Errol Spence. So dropping down 2 weight classes again, he fights the boogeyman of the division. Yeah, it's probably half killed himself to get to 147 and starts off brightly, but then he gassed again. He got beat up again. And again, the thing with Kell Brooks is his motivation. He's only motivated for those type of fights, so he starts quite well. But then there's been too many of those sort of fights where, you know, he hasn't really been up for, like Carson Jones and things like that. So again, it's not all to do with Eddie Hearn, but the direction that he should have been going into should have been a little bit different. They should have avoided the Errol Spence fight and tried to get a unification fight. Pay the extra that you have to Errol Spence and get the unification fight against one of the other American fighters at that time. Or give him another challenge and just say that he needs a warm-up fight first. Give him a warm-up fight before he fights Errol Spence back at 147. Just do something. And Triple G shouldn't have been fighting that fight. So now he's in a situation where he's at 154. He looked devastating towards the end of his fight on the weekend. Now I'm hearing like Liam Smith. Now Liam Smith, this will be a great fight. It's 60-40 in Kell's favour, maybe, or maybe 50-50. Liam's more natural at the weight. And they're talking about like a title eliminator. But like, again, this is pretty much a 50-50 fight. Kell Brooks, either, if it's going to be a 50-50 fight, he may as well be going for the title right now. He's at the age of 34 now. And I know that as a trainer, you're a little bit more worried for your fighter. And he's talking about like bringing in and getting him fighting somebody just to obviously get the cobwebs out. But no, like Ingle was saying, obviously, you know, let's tread carefully a little bit. But Kell Brooks needs these fights now. So you've got a 154 division now that is swapping titles left, right and centre. So Tony Harrison had the title only a few months ago, and then CHARLO won it back, things like that. So there's fights out there for him at 154. So for me, it's got to be a title challenge next. I wouldn't go for CHARLO. I'll go for the other 2 title holders. And give Kell Brooks the fight finally that he deserves to become a 2-weight world champion. Pay the extra money if they've got mandatories. Pay what you have to pay. And give Kell Brooks what he deserves. He deserved the Amir Khan fight. Amir Khan doesn't want to fight him. Eddie Hearn brought Amir Khan over to Matchroom. Still didn't want to give him a fight. He still said he tried to drop the mic in the ring, Amir Khan. And he obviously didn't want to fight, dropped the mic and saying, yeah, well, you know, I'll fight you next and I'll take you out next. But it's never going to happen. So other than chasing that, give him his title shot. Forget Liam Smith for now. Maybe they can fight down the road for an actual title, but there's no point those guys fighting because either one loses that, they lose complete credibility for going for another title. It could be the end of someone like Kell Brooks and Liam Smith. Again, it will just lower his ratings down even further. So we've got to tread carefully with what we're going to do next for Kell Brooks. For me, Eddie Hearn owes this guy a lot. It does seem as though, I think Kell Brooks alludes to it a little bit, that just remember where Matchroom kind of came from. I know it came years before and stuff like that, Barry Hearn and everything like that, but it was Kell Brooks and Carthage that was putting it on the map. And you know, Carthage, like he'll keep reminding you, selling out stadiums and stuff like that, selling out Wembley and selling out the Forest Stadium and things like that. and Kell Brooks was flying the flag as well, and stuff like that, and you could see Eddie Hearn was all over Kell Brooks, but as soon as Anthony Joshua is here now, and now he's based, he's got DAZN and everything like that, he's kind of like he's left in the wilderness a little bit, and he's got DAZN money and everything. Eddie Hearn, so Eddie Hearn has to make these moves for Kell Brooks' career. Otherwise, if he makes the wrong move, it could be the end of Kell Brooks' career, and we're never going to see him as a British great. We'll just see him as a very good British fighter, and we want to see Special K being a great. So yeah, smash a like, guys. I want to see what you guys think. What do you think's next for Kell Brooks? And I'm on to the next one.